We are seeing smoke in dry grass, but we are assuming nothing serious is happening. The death of King Ahab, hundreds of prophets, even with signs and wonders, they lied to the nation. But there was only one prophet called Micaiah from the village. Because I'm a prophet and I have to announce the progress of this country from the eyes, from the perspective of God.
But I am talking because as a prophet, I don't see anything good. I see smoke. Fire is just on the way. To a wise man, things are not okay. To a fool, things are very much okay. But as things stand, things are not okay. I was born in a village. Part of my life was brought up in a village. Once upon a time, from my village, there are times people could harvest. And after harvesting, technology had not reached where it has reached today. So the remainings of maize and wheat could be left there, and we could be sent to go and cut them. Then we put them somewhere. Then they dry. Then after a period of time, you could be sent to go and put fire. Those days, you could not be given the matchbox, but a burning charcoal. How many people went through that? If you are here. And then you could go with the burning charcoal. Then you look for the dry ones. Then you put the charcoal there, and then you, once it starts lightening, you cover it and you step aside. It will take you like 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. The only thing you could see is the smoke, but not the fire itself. Sometimes the smoke will fade. When you go and check, you find the fire went off long time ago. Even the charcoal itself is dead. But something very interesting, you could keep on seeing the smoke coming up. And as long as you could see the smoke increasing, that was a clear indicator that the fire is. Then all of a sudden, the wind could blow and you just hear, and it is fire that you cannot even stand closer. The truth to be told, that as I've always said, I am not a politician. I am a servant of God. But indeed and truly, if I have the gift of prophecy in me, and if I have the calling of being a prophet, then with what is happening in Kenya, I cannot shut my mouth. Because I don't see any possibility, even a room, to why I should shut my mouth. I will speak and speak the truth. So that when time comes of your downfall, nobody should point at God and say, God, you are silent over all this. God should have a room to defend himself and say, no, as much as you people perished, but I also warned you. And as I've told you again and again, it's not a must God to use me. He can use anyone and everybody the way he wishes. And so if he is using me today, it's because that is his will. And who am I to change his will? I can see smoke. I can see a serious smoke in this land called Kenya. But the smoke I'm seeing is a smoke of a very serious thing. Kenya's downfall. But the smoke can be stopped. And I am sure it can be stopped. People are asking me questions. Prophet, why are you just seeing bad things? Why are you seeing bad things? What do you want me to see when there is only bad things happening? I've been here for years. I didn't become a prophet yesterday. I've been a prophet for a long time. Why didn't I speak then? Because there was nothing bad to be spoken about. Why am I speaking now? Because there is nothing good coming ahead of us. And so, brethren, if I am seeing nothing good, can somebody advise me? What should I say? Do you want me to tell you there is peace when there is no peace? No. Be honest to yourself. Are you not terrified? Deep inside. Don't be a prophet, but be a prophet yourself now. When you look at things around you, are you okay? Do you have that peace inside you? The truth is that no. Now, I want to ask you several things and tell me if we are seeing signs of hope and future for this nation if things continue like this, or what should we prepare ourselves for? 2007, I was in this country. I was still a prophet. It was just a night. 2007. It was a night. First, maybe I start with 202. 202, I was a student in Pomwani Secondary School. Something happened in school. Very strange. And whatever happened in school in Pomwani Secondary, I was on the front line to expose it. And it happened exactly the way I told them it was to happen. And our teachers were confused about me. They didn't understand me. They didn't know how I knew what was going to happen, and I told them, and it happened. And it was saving a life. It was saving a life. A life of one of the principals of Pomwani Secondary School. His name was Francis Tiba Kanywa. I think he was a Taita teacher. So I went to his office very early in the morning at 6. When I got into the office, okay, sorry. I went to the office at 6. That day I left the school evening. I used to walk from Pomwani to Lunga Lunga. I was a day scholar. Pomwani was a day school. So I used to walk. I was living with my uncle. So I used to walk morning and evening. So when I left school in the evening, on my way back home, I passed through Majengo. Nikifika, when I reached at the gate of St. John's, Majengo Apple, there is this St. John, I don't know whether it's St. John what, but there is St. John's Apple. So when I reached at St. John's, the angel of God appeared to me and told me, tomorrow, go and save Mr. Francis Tibakanywa. Then I asked him, saving him from what? Then the angel told me, go home, I will tell you. So I went home. When I reached home, at night, the angel came back to me. And he told me A, B, C, D. He told me about some thugs who were to come to school, and one of the thugs was to shoot him. So I was instructed to go and save his life very early in the morning. So I woke up at 4. I went to school. Immediately I reached at the gate, I met the Mwalim. He used to have a white, long, the vehicle used to be called G-Touring or something. White, long, so I didn't have vehicles by then, so I didn't know the names, but what I remember, it was a long, white vehicle. So I reached at the gate, and he also reaches. And then he asked me, young man, how are you? Then I said, fine. And he was a very harsh teacher. So he asked me, how are you? Then I say, fine. Why are you in school very early like this? At exactly 6. Then I told him, I have some homeworks which I didn't do yesterday. Then he said, oh, that's good.
Then the watchman opened the gate. He entered, then I also followed. I was the first student that day in school. Then I went to the toilet. I used to have my own toilet where I used to pray. My own toilet. There was just one toilet in school, which was my prayer room. So my first prayer room was once a toilet. One of my prayer rooms was once a toilet. So I went to this toilet, which was my prayer room. And something amazing, that toilet, nobody used to go inside. Nobody. It's like God knew that is my prayer place. So God had obstructed people from going there. So I got into this toilet and I prayed, and these were my prayers. I remember very well. I told God, I want to continue with my education. And I don't want anything that will interfere with my education. So I am going to take this report. But after that, protect me. Nobody should see me in this school. And nobody should know that I'm in this school. So after my prayers, I went straight to the office of Mr. Francis Tibakanywa. Wherever he may be on the face of this earth, if he's still alive, he can witness that what I'm saying is true. So I went to his office, I knocked, come in, then I got in. Then something told me, remove specs, because I started putting on specs when I was in class 7. So I removed my specs. Something told me remove the specs. So I removed the specs. I got into his office. Then he asked me, how can I help you? Then I told him, Malim, it's not you to help me, it's me to help you. Then he was shocked. Then he asked me, how are you going to help me? Then I told him, today, at this particular time, A, B, C, D will happen. Then he asked me, what is your name? Then I told him Mtishiby, because I know that name is too heavy for people to. But Lucas, Samo, they are very easy. So I told him Mtishiby. Then I added the last name, Samo. So I knew Zitamchanganya. Then he asked me, which class are you? Then I told him I was in Form. That row was Form 1, the second row was Form 2. I was in Form 2000. Which year was that? I was in Form 1. Yes, I was in Form 1. Yes, I remember I was in Form 1K, because where I used to sit is where Fadhili William, the singer, Ewe Kenya mama yangu, is where he used to sing. Is where he used to sit. And it happened that it's the same place where Joe Akech used to sit in Form 1. So I sat in my Form 1, I sat the same place Fadhili William sat. It's the same place Joe Akech sat. Is also where my desk was. So I remembered I was in Form 1 because of that. So, and immediately I spoke to him. I told him, can I go? And he said yes. Immediately I stepped out. I told God, remember what I've told you. Nobody should see me in this school. Because thugs were coming to school to shoot him. So I revealed everything to him. And I even told him the time they were to come. Then I advised him to call the police in civilian so that they can be arrested. It was announced in KBC. If you ever heard of thugs that were shot in Pomwani Secondary School, that's the story I'm talking about. One escaped with bullet and all that. So that day we went for lunch and breakfast at the same time at 10:30. Siku hiyo tulikuwa tunakula ugali na chai zinaendana hivi. For the first time. Because the whole school kept on looking for me, the whole teachers. He went to the staff room and narrated the story, because even I told him the name of the person who had organized that. And it happened that he knew the name and he knew the person. And I told him why the person had done that. And he remembered it was exactly the reason why that person could do that. So now, it was about me to be found. So he went to the staff room. He told the teachers. So all the teachers were looking for this boy. So I took my specs back so they could come before parade. They look at my book. They go. They go Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. They want to go to Form 4. He says, no. That boy cannot be in Form 4. He's either in Form 2 or Form 1 or Form 3 because of the uniform. Najua by the time you reach Form 4, the uniform is rotten. So, they looked for me everywhere. But I know they are looking for me. But that does not mean I wasn't terrified. I was so terrified, just shaking. Because I don't know when they get me, what will happen. Because I was terrified. But that is then. Try now. So, they looked for me. We were taken to parade. Or we were taken for parade. After everything, everybody was leaving one at a time. So my time came. I passed the teachers. The teachers were standing this side, others were standing this side, and he was standing straight, looking at every student as you come. Him with his senior teacher, principal, by them, his name was Mr. Kirui. So it reached my time, I passed. And I know they are looking for me, and my heart is beating. Then I passed. I went to the classroom. At 10, the police were called. At 11, police were called. Lunchtime, the thugs came in, and whatever happened, happened. Now, after that, at 3, we were released that day, 2:30, to go back home. Now, they were all standing at the gate, including the CIDs. They're looking for this boy who brought the message. So it was my time to go. I used to have a friend called Akikuyu. So I was with John in front. Then something told me, get out of John's back. Go back. I used to also have another friend called Elijah. So I went back to where Elijah was. I went back. So I decided to join Form 4s. I don't know what took me to Form 4s. I just stayed until Form 4s came. Then I joined the group of Form 4s and I passed. Because the teacher said, no, he can't be in Form 4. So I passed in the group and I went home. I never came back to school for 2 weeks. Because I didn't know what would happen to me. For 2 weeks, I missed school. Now, when I came back after 2 weeks, remember, I'm in Form 1, I'm a student, but back in the slum, I'm a pastor with a church. In school, I'm a student, but back in the slum, Lunga Lunga, I have a church. So 2 weeks I didn't come to school. So when I came back, I went straight to my toilet as usual to pray. While I was there, then I was told, somebody is looking for me. Open his eyes to see you. Look, as someone is looking for you. Open his eyes to see you. My mind didn't recall anything to do with school. I remember by that time we were doing some CAT exams. So I couldn't remember that I had done something in school. So I said, open his eyes to see me. Me, I knew it is in the slum. So immediately I come from my toilet like this. I meet Mr. Kanywa at the entrance of the toilet. And he was one man, when you meet him, expect to be boxed. Because he was a no-nonsense taker. Mr. Kanywa was a no-nonsense taker. I think by the time he retired, he was the principal of Uhuru Secondary School, something like that. I meet him. Then he asked me, good morning. Then I say, good morning, sir. Are you the one who came into my office? Then I said, yes. Is it me who said yes or my mouth? I don't think if it was me, it was my mouth that said yes. So my mouth said yes, because me, I can't say yes. I know. So my mouth said yes. Then he told me, go straight to my office. So now, I am walking and he's behind me, like here and there. You can't escape. Even if it's the prayer of disappearing, it can't work. So I am here, he's there, following me. Little did I know he had called the senior teacher by the name Mrs. Ndungu. And he had told Mrs. Ndungu, I found the boy. So I am walking where I thought I would make a corner and disappear. Mrs. Ndungu is standing and she's doing like this. So how do you disappear? So I went straight to her office. They started interrogating me, how I knew the message. Some questions I responded to them, some questions I kept quiet. Then I remember the only thing I told them, I had a dream. Then she asked me, do you dream? I can be a yes. So you had a dream? Yes. How did the dream start? For me to explain the dream, I had to talk about seeing an angel at St. John's. So I said about seeing an angel at St. John's. Then he asked me, so you see angels? Nikamwambia, sometimes. Nikamwambia, okay. So you see angels, you dream, and you see also things. Then I told her, sometimes. Then she asked me, okay. So all these things you saw, because you saw, you came and talked to Mwalim, and it happened. How comes we have been looking for you, and you were nowhere to be seen? Then I told her, I knew you people were looking for me, and I didn't want issues because I'm afraid. I just want to continue with my education. I don't want anything. Then, by bad luck, she asked me a question. What do you see about me? You know, as a prophet, when someone asks you, what do you see about me? It's an insult. What you feel is pain. It's like someone has insulted you. There's some pain you feel when people ask you, what do you see? It's like an insult. So when she asked me, what do you see? I felt the pain like it was an insult. But I just composed myself. Then I looked down. Then immediately a voice spoke to me and told me, tell her what you see. Then I told her, Mwalim, I see you have a daughter by the name, was it Njoki? Yes, by a name Njoki, something like that. You have a daughter by the name Njoki, and she's looking for a visa to South Africa, and it's A, B, C, D, and there's somebody called this name who has been holding the visa of your daughter because of A, B, C, D. Tell your daughter to fast on Tuesday, and this is the program of fasting, and to go and pick her visa. And she was shocked. So what she did, she stood up, closed me inside the office, and went to Mr. Kanywa's office because they were just adjacent to each other. But she locked me inside the office. She went and told Mr. Kanywa, now it's not yours, it is mine. It's not yours, it is mine. And whatever he has told me is purely truth. So now, Mr. Kanywa and Mrs. Ndungu was a staunch believer. She's born again. I don't know whether she's still alive also or not. Both of them, I don't know whether they're still alive or not, because so many years. And so, over 20 years. So what happened is that they couldn't understand me. So Mrs. Ndungu happened to be in the National Council of ACK Women, sitting on the table with Mr. By then, the Bishop of Anglican was Manasseh Kuria. So she happened to be in that council. So for her, she reached out to Bishop Manasseh Kuria and told Bishop Manasseh Kuria, something happened in school. There is a boy who brought that information. And now today we have found the boy. And he has told me something that even my daughter has not shared with me. So we don't know about this boy completely. That was around 97, 98 when Illuminati was now hitting. So they didn't know where to place me. So Bishop Manasseh Kuria came in school. So I was released to go back in class. On the other hand, they had received numerous complaints from subject teachers that there is a boy in Form 1K who doesn't speak. He is ever reading the Bible, but very bright. You ask him a question, he will answer the question plus what you have not even taught. You ask him a question, he'll give you the feedback plus what you have not taught him, but he's ever reading the Bible. And which was true. Me, all the days from 1, from 2, from 3, I never carried textbooks. Me, my bag used to have a Bible, and this Bible. Not any other Bible. This Bible. This is the Bible. And this Bible I was given by by a very notorious criminal in Kakamega. His name was Naftali Obeywa. He used to be called Rasta in Kakamega. After I met him when police were hunting him, and I saved his life, and he received salvation. He had this Bible in his house. He gave me as a gift many, many years ago. That was even before I joined Form 1. So this is the Bible. This Bible you see here. And this Bible has a story. One day, thieves got into my house in Nairobi, Madare, number 10. They stole all my things, including this Bible. I made the person who stole my Bible to become mad. His name was Omosh. Alikuwa wazimu mpaka akarudisha Biblia yangu. Mpaka wakakuja kwangu wakiwa wote with another guy from Oyugis is the one who brought him. Because the wife also started coming for prayers. So the guy went and brought Omosh kama ni wazimu. Akamwambia pastor, sisi ndo tulikuibia vitu kwa nyumba wakati ulikuja hapo ukakomboa nyumba hapa. Ukatoka ukapata mlango imevunjwa. Sisi ndo tuliiba kila kitu. But rafiki yetu amekuwa wazimu. Na kuna Biblia amekwamia tu. Ukimshika hiyo Biblia na kupiga kabisa. He doesn't eat, he doesn't do anything. There's a black Bible with a cape. Cape ingine ya white iko na mstari ya red and yellow. Nikamwambia the cape is mine. The Bible is mine. Tell him to bring my Bible. I'll set him free. That's the only thing I want. The rest of the thing I don't want. This Bible. That was 2004. 2003. That's the time this Bible was stolen. Those are how many years? 20 years. So, Manasseh was brought in school. And I was called again into the office of Mrs. Ndungu. And when I was called there, we sat. I didn't know. I just saw an old man with these Kenyan beads with a cape. So he started talking to me. The first time I despised him. I kept quiet. So he talked. But when he introduced himself and opened up, to me it was a great privilege to sit with someone like that. And so I started now opening up. And we became friends. And so one day he took me to State House. And when I was taken to State House, that was 2002, I prophesied the formation of NAC. Even before Kibaki was chosen to be the president, Moi knew, because I told him. Until Moi asked me, how shall it happen? Then I told him, all the political people are going to merge together. And they will raise somebody of the tribe of Uhuru. Even Uhuru had not been chosen. And because of the tribe, same tribe, and the experience of the other person, he will outdo Uhuru. But Uhuru will become a president after 10 years. So people who are saying that my prophecy of Raila Amolo Odinga becoming a president is a fake. Go and check our YouTube. You'll find also a prophecy where I said Raila will win, but will not sit on it. That was previous elections. And that's exactly how it happened. And so that happened. So I didn't become prophet yesterday to stand here and tell you people lies. I've walked a journey. But it's only that during the days, I remember even during coalition, the government of Mkate, Nusu, I remember I was in town. I was in town. Luthuli Complex. Behind Luthuli Complex, there is a shop called Kisii Electronics and another shop called Universal Electronics. Between the corridors, there is a shop called Kiki Electronics. Kiki belongs to Reverend Josephat Kamau, who is a cousin of a very senior bishop in this country. So I was there with Reverend Kiki, and Reverend Kiki was my good friend. So as we were seated talking, he asked me a question. Prophet, what do you think this election is going to become? Then I told him, no. I had a dream the other day that Kibaki was standing here, Raila was standing here, and there was an orange. And the orange came in between them. Then Kibaki akashika one side, Raila another side, and they started pulling each other over the orange, but the orange ikajikata katikati. I don't know, how do you call that in English? Ikajikata katikati. It split in between. Is that the right English? The orange split into two. But I could not tell who was having the larger size and who was having the smaller size. Immediately I finished speaking this. This guy called his brother, who is a bishop, who is his cousin, shared with him what I told him. Then immediately, I had the bishop on media saying that he's the one who had the dream. Now the bishop was the one having the dream. It was not about me any longer. My friend, where do you think I would have taken those kind of information? And by then, I was living in Madare number 10. Mtu wa Madare number 10 unatafuta unga, unatafuta pesa kwenda radio station. So me, I left it like that. So when Mkate Nusu came in, I was able to combine with my dream. Then I said, okay, so this is this. This is what I saw. The Lord has walked with me in this journey. And now today, let me assure you, where Kenya is heading is not a good place. Don't deceive yourselves. Because look at 2007, look at 2017. It was just a smoke as it is a smoke now. But the fire was beneath the dry grass. The problem is we are seeing smoke, but in dry grass, and we are assuming that nothing will happen. We are seeing smoke in dry grass, but we are assuming nothing serious is happening. Brothers and sisters, something serious is cooking. It's just a matter of time. Can I give you examples? Because I'm a prophet and I have to announce the progress of this country from the eyes, from the perspective of God. How God is seeing it. The death of King Ahab. Hundreds of prophets, even with signs and wonders, they lied to the nation. But there was only one prophet called Micaiah from the village. Micaiah had the true information of that nation by then. In this country, it doesn't matter how many of us will prophesy things, but I know there is one that God has chosen, and whatever he says shall come to pass. And I don't want to say I am the one, but I know there has to be somebody. So I don't want to stand here and hit my chest and say I'm the one. But I know there has to be somebody. Micaiah was a prophet of the village, not recognized, but even hated by King Ahab because he never contradicted himself. Tell me, 2017, there was no returning officer who was hit. The time of Kivuitu and the time of Chebukati. Is it true? It was Chebukati or who? The other one? Hassan, yes? Was Hassan hit by anyone? Was Chebukati hit by anyone? But did the nation not burn? How about the one who was hit? Why couldn't the nation burn? Because hundreds and thousands of Kenyans had taken the petition of our peace before the Lord in prayers. The nation didn't burn because of police. The nation didn't burn because of military. The nation stood because of the believers who prayed for peace. God could not exchange our prayers with blood. The war of this country this time was in Bomas and ended in Bomas. Didn't go into the street. But the other times there was no war in Bomas, but the war was in the street. Now, if the wars of the street took this nation to where it reached some times back, what do you think the wars of Bomas would have taken this nation to? Hello? But to some fools, they will go around hitting their chest and say they control the nation. Nobody controlled this nation, it was God. Nobody saved Kenya, it was God. Because people went outside there praying and asking God for peace. Why did you ask for peace? Because your spirit had sensed what was coming ahead. God himself came and controlled the nation. And he said, for the sake of my people shall live. For the first time, the news went out. There was no burning of tires in Kisumu. And if there was, it was only for 20, 30 minutes. There were no kales and problems in Madare, in Kibera. And even the very person who felt that his rights had been stolen, he went out and told his people, be silent, we shall give you a report. He went silent for how many days? Do you know what it takes to be silent for all that time when your heart is bleeding? Who made Raila to be silent? A man? No, God. The same Raila today talking. The same Raila today calling some people Chepcheta. What made him to be silent then? And what has made him to start talking now? Or there was another Raila and this is a different Raila. But imagine if he would have spoken then. What would have happened? When God is in control, I want to tell Gashagwa, when God is in control, don't hit your chest and say you are the one. I want to pass the message to Mr. Ruto. When God is putting this country in pieces of peace together, stop provoking God by your words. Because if God says, now I am tired of Kenya, there shall be no Kenya. It really pissed me the other day when I see William Ruto speaking the words he spoke. He is the father by the virtue he's sitting in that house. He is the father, and every Kenyan, whether they are happy or not happy with him, he has a responsibility of making sure that there is peace. Not throwing words as he's throwing. Those words, and the Bible say, words are like small fire in a forest. Mr. Ruto, go back and read the verse and the chapter about the power of your tongues, of the power of our tongues. And especially when you are in authority, be careful with your tongue. Because you need to know, over 6 million people don't like you. Be careful with what you speak. And the remaining millions who didn't vote, you don't know where their stand is. So you can't say they are on your side. You might think they are on your side, yet they are not there. But the bottom line remains, Kenya, at the moment, you have a responsibility even in the eyes of God to make sure that Kenyans are in peace. So be careful with your words. It's rather they insult you, but not you to them. Because them, they have pain. They are in petrol and you are coming with a matchbox. You know what your matchbox can do. It was small games like this one we are seeing today. And all the nations that have ever banned, they started with these small games that we are seeing today. Careless talking from top leaders. Because even the leaders are divided. Who didn't hear Arati saying, you scored na mkono? And even if it was you, ambao ulifanywa hivyo, today you will be on the front line ukiandamana. You don't laugh on such kind of statements from leaders. That one is simply to tell you, I'm accommodating you by virtue of the office you are holding, but me and you, we have nothing common. That is the message. And this is a smoke. Let us pray that this smoke dies, doesn't become a fire one day. Because when it shall become a fire, it doesn't matter the party you voted for. There shall be no time and space for people to negotiate. What does the Bible say? How beautiful is it when brothers sit together in harmony? It's like anointing oil from the head of Aaron to his beard. Now, what is the sign of peace? Negotiation of handshake. So when a leader say, we have no handshake, Really? Really? We can't sit down and talk. Huyo mtu aende kwa kanisa, aombewe, aokoke. Really? And are we not giving the room to the devil, to this country? We want to be silent on those kind of information, and we don't talk about them? No. Somebody has to talk about them. Where are we heading to when our national intelligence can stand and lie in the face of Kenyans and the whole world? Where are we heading to when the president can make orders and the court stops the same orders? Where are we heading to when the heads of serious departments of this country can bring out orders and the courts stops the same orders? Is this a real true nation or a confused nation? I want to ask you a question. The issue of LGBTQ, the president said it cannot be allowed and it shall not be allowed in Kenya. Was it a PR or was it a statement from a president? Because the courts had already passed the law. Has it been revoked? Or was it just one of the political statements? So, is Kenya an LGBTQ member or not? Where are we standing as a nation? And are these games before men or also before God? And what has the church done? The church has gone silent about it. The church is not talking about it. Yes, yet we have a blasphemy before the eyes of God. Uganda passed a law. If you are found public as an LGBTQ, you will be jailed 20 years or life sentence. Kenya has done nothing. In fact, Kenya is opposite. They are free to form societies. That is as far as the law stands. But every Sunday we are in churches. Where are we heading to as a nation? Don't tell me that the smoke is decreasing. It is increasing. Because the insults are increasing from both sides. Before the physical war begins, it is the war of words. That's why in wrestling, before the two people come to fight, they are given moments to come and give their speech. In boxing, the same. In football, the coaches and the captains will meet and everyone speaks. What is happening in Kenya? Kenya right now, you are in war. But you are in wars of words. Open your eyes and see there is war in Kenya, and the war is the war of words. And the camps are forming themselves. Gradually and gradually, the camps are growing. Just a matter of time. We shall ascend and we shall grow from verbal war into real physical war. But I want to ask you a question. God passed through Kofi Annan and other leaders for your nation to be saved. How sure are you there will be another person that God will use to save this nation when it starts burning? How sure are you? Kofi Annan died long time ago. If Kofi Annan was able to bring the peace of Kenya, why did they fail for Somalia? They would have sent him then to Somalia and bring peace. Or don't we have countries in Africa that are fighting? Why haven't they brought peace between Russia and Ukraine? The wars are still going on up to now. So let us not think that it was Kofi Annan who made it. It was God through Kofi Annan. It was God through Kofi Annan. Stop taking everything for granted when God has given us a moment of peace, a moment of grace. Let's stop hitting our chest and say, we are the one doing it. We are doing nothing. He is the one doing everything. Let's go back to him and tell him, Father, thank you for what you are doing to this nation, but also save us from this. But not people walking around and hitting their chests. Today, if the government was to bring a function in Kisumu and it has food, they'll have to bring the whole GSU to guard their food. Because I've never seen a big crack that starts big. All cracks start small. What happened in Kenya, in Kisumu, is a crack. What happened in Nyamira the other day, it's a crack. Look, there was maandamano of 1 day. Now there is a maandamano of 2 days. Who knows what will come next? There might be of 3 and 4 and a whole week and a whole month and a whole year and forever. It was 1 day maandamano. Gave birth to a maandamano of. Do you know what the maandamano of 2 days will bring? But when you move from 1 to 2, are you growing or are you reducing? Are you increasing or are you reducing? So what is happening in Kenya? Kenya still stands in the presence of God by his mercies. But let us stop provoking God. Because the Bible says, do to your enemy what you will want done to you. And the truth is, the political side is in pain. Because there are things that deserve to be clarified to them. And the nation and the government has refused to give them that clarity and to give the clarification. Leading the nation into total blackout. Blackout of truth. By only one thing. Open the server. Together, we shall work on how to reduce the cost of living. Simple. And if there will be the end of Kenya, it will be based on one thing. The end of Kenya will be based on IBC. 2007, the commissioners did not divide themselves. Did not separate. 2017, the commissioners were as one as whatever. But 2022, they divided among themselves. You take all those things for granted? You take them for granted? As simple. Open the server or get a moment to sit down and talk. Call each other and say, this thing we can't open because it carries this and this and this. These are the dirtiness we don't want to expose to the Kenyans. But this is the truth about it. And for those who don't know, that is exactly what Uhuru did. Uhuru called Raila and told Raila, I have to talk to you because this is the truth and I don't want to live with guiltiness. Every time I walk, every time I move, every time police salute me, army salute me, I know it's at the cost of somebody's sweat. That thing contains that. But we have moved to this level. How do we go about this? For the sake of Kenyans. That's why we were able to move. But this is a point whereby people are full of pride. Where are we taking this nation? Some of us, we don't have visas to go to other countries. If we can't get meals, will we get transport to run to other countries as refugees when this nation starts burning? This is the only home we know. This is the only place we have. This is the only home we know. And this is the only place we have. And no one is ready to leave his or her home. But I am talking because as a prophet, I don't see anything good. I see smoke. Fire is just on the way. Because there is no development. Right now, the Azimio, the political side, is not thinking about development of this country. They are all thinking about their strategy, their next strategy. Against what? Government brutality. That is what they are saying. The government is thinking of nothing apart from their next strategy. Against what? Demonstration. And where are we heading as a nation with all this? So please, wherever you are, whatever you do, pray for Kenya. Pray for Kenya because your sons are here. Pray for Kenya because your daughters are here. Pray for Kenya because your brothers are here. Pray for Kenya because your mothers are here.
Pray for Kenya because you are here. And we have to tell you people the truth. Unless the Lord stretch his hand of peace, unless the Lord stretch his hand of love, unless the Lord stretches his hand of unity, we can't do it by ourselves.